You know, it's fascinating. Every single person walking this earth, no matter where they come from, no matter their background, race, belief system, we all share the same 6 psychological needs. And the first one, the one that quietly drives so many of our decisions, is the need for certainty. Now, what is certainty really? At its core, it's the need for safety, for comfort. It's our deep instinctual drive to avoid pain and to feel some sense of control in a world that is constantly shifting beneath our feet. It's biological, it's primal. Your nervous system is wired to seek stability because for thousands of years, uncertainty meant danger. It meant risk. It meant survival was on the line. But here's where it gets interesting. Certainty isn't just about survival anymore. In today's world, it shows up in more subtle yet equally powerful ways. It shows up in our desire for routines, the job you hate but won't leave, the relationship that feels stale but feels safe, the stories you tell yourself about who you are, what you're capable of, what your limits are. Those are all rooted in certainty. They're familiar, predictable, even if they don't serve you. Think about that. How often do we choose familiarity over fulfillment? How often do we settle, not because we don't want more, but because we're afraid of losing what little control we believe we have? This need for certainty can become a prison if we're not conscious of it. We've been taught that comfort equals happiness, but that's a lie. Comfort equals safety. And while safety has its place, it does not equal fulfillment. You can be safe and still be deeply dissatisfied. You can be comfortable and still feel like something essential is missing. Here's the paradox. Too much certainty creates boredom. The same thing over and over again becomes numbing. Your soul starts to ache for something more, but your fear of uncertainty keeps you stuck. It's like living in a beautifully furnished cell. Now, let me be clear. There's nothing wrong with the need for certainty. In fact, it's necessary. We all need some level of stability in our lives. We need to feel secure in our relationships, our finances, our sense of identity. But when that need becomes dominant, when it overpowers all the others, it becomes a limitation. So what do? We become aware. We ask better questions. Instead of asking, what will keep me safe? We start asking, what will make me grow? Instead of saying, I need to know how this ends, we learn to say, I trust myself to figure it out along the way. Certainty feels good, but growth lives in the unknown. If you're always clinging to what's comfortable, you'll never reach what's possible. Don't let the need for certainty rob you of a life that could be extraordinary. So while one part of you is craving certainty, safety, control, predictability, there's another force pulling in the opposite direction, and that's the need for variety, the need for uncertainty, the need to feel alive. Now think about that contradiction for a moment. On one hand, we want stability. On the other, we crave surprise. That tension, that inner push and pull, that's what makes life interesting. It's what keeps us engaged. Because let's face it, if everything in your life were completely predictable, if you knew every outcome in advance, if you repeated the exact same day over and over again, you'd go insane. You wouldn't be safe, you'd be numb. See, variety is the spice of life for a reason. At a psychological level, we are wired not just to avoid pain, but also to seek stimulation. That stimulation, whether it's emotional, intellectual, or physical, is what fuels our energy. It wakes up the nervous system. It keeps the brain engaged. It's why we travel. It's why we fall in love. It's why we take risks. Even people who say they hate change, they don't actually hate change. What they hate is losing control. But variety, real variety, isn't about chaos. It's about aliveness. We chase it in all sorts of ways, sometimes consciously, sometimes unconsciously. We change careers. We binge watch a new show. We scroll endlessly on social media, not because we're interested, but because the algorithm feeds us novelty. It hits that neurological reward loop. It gives us the illusion of variety, but here's the thing. There's a difference between shallow stimulation and deep variety. One distracts you, the other develops you. Deep variety is when you stretch yourself beyond the familiar, when you engage with new ideas, new people, new challenges that force you to think, feel, and act in ways you've never done before. That kind of variety doesn't just entertain, it evolves you. And yet, most people run from it because with variety comes uncertainty. And with uncertainty comes fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being enough. But here's the truth. Everything you want, everything that will make you grow, starts on the other side of that fear. It starts in the unknown. The goal isn't to eliminate fear. The goal is to build a relationship with it. To understand that discomfort isn't the enemy, it's the gateway. When you stop needing everything to be certain, and you start embracing the beauty of variety, of uncertainty, your world gets bigger, your energy expands, your life becomes an adventure again. So don't numb your need for variety with cheap stimulation. Don't settle for comfort when what you really want is aliveness. Go do something unfamiliar. Step into a new experience. Let the unknown work for you, not against you. Because the quality of your life has less to do with how safe it is and everything to do with how fully you're willing to engage with it. Now let's go even deeper into one of the most powerful and misunderstood forces driving human behavior, the need for significance. This one operates beneath the surface. It's not always loud, but it's always present. It's the need to feel that you matter, that your life counts for something, that you're not just another face in the crowd. And I'll tell you, when this need goes unmet, it creates a kind of quiet desperation that leaks into everything. Your relationships, your work, your self-worth. Every person, whether they admit it or not, is searching for a sense of uniqueness. You want to feel like you're important in some way. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not vanity, it's not arrogance, it's identity. It's about defining who you are in a world that's constantly trying to tell you who to be. Now, the tricky part is this. People will pursue significance in vastly different ways. Some do it through excellence, by mastering a craft, building a business, raising a family with incredible love and care. Others chase it through status, attention, or even conflict. Because if I can't be noticed for something good, I'll settle for being noticed for something loud. And some go even further. They suffer, and their suffering becomes their story, and that story becomes their significance. Look how much I've endured. Look how unfair life has been to me. And there's truth in that pain, absolutely. But when we wrap our identity around our wounds, we trap ourselves in them. We stay there. Because healing means letting go of the very thing that made us feel important. Significance at its worst becomes a zero-sum game. For me to feel important, I have to be more than you. More successful, more beautiful, more intelligent, more right. That's where the ego starts to separate us. Comparison, competition, judgment. But the truth is, your value has nothing to do with someone else's path. Your worth isn't measured against anyone else's timeline. See, there's a higher level of significance, one that doesn't isolate, it elevates. That's the kind that comes from contribution. When your significance isn't just about being seen, but about serving. Not look at me, but let me lift someone else. When you shift from external validation to internal alignment, everything changes, because now your life has meaning that doesn't fluctuate based on who's clapping. It's the difference between performance and purpose. One depends on applause, the other runs deep, whether anyone's watching or not. So ask yourself, where am I getting my significance? Is it lifting me up or locking me in? Is it making me more of who I really am, or is it pulling me away from it? Because when you build your life around true significance, grounded in purpose, fueled by growth, and rooted in contribution, you don't just feel important, you become impactful, and that's the kind of legacy that lasts. In the end, it's not about proving your worth, it's about remembering it and living in a way that honors it. If certainty gives us stability, and variety gives us excitement, and significance makes us feel like we matter, there's still something deeper that drives us at the core. It's the need for love and connection. And let's be real, you can have everything, success, recognition, even personal growth, but if you don't feel connected, if you don't experience love in a real meaningful way, a part of you will always feel empty. We are social creatures, wired from birth to bond. From the moment you came into this world, your nervous system was scanning for connection through eye contact, through touch, through emotional presence. Love isn't a luxury, it's a requirement. It's as vital as oxygen. You can survive without it for a while, but you won't live, not in any deep or fulfilling sense. But here's where it gets complicated. Because love is vulnerable, it requires openness. It means risking rejection. And for many people, especially those who've been hurt, it feels safer to settle for connection than to fully open themselves to love. But what do I mean by that? I mean, we seek shallow interactions. We collect followers. We fill our calendar with meetings. We make small talk instead of real talk. It looks like connection, but it's not intimacy. It's not the kind of closeness that heals or elevates. We numb ourselves with digital interactions because they're safe. You can connect without risk. You can be liked without being known. But there's a huge difference between being liked and being loved. One is based on performance, the other is based on presence. And the irony, the people who most crave love are often the ones who struggle most to give it, because they're still waiting to receive it first. They're stuck in a loop of, I'll open up when it's safe, not realizing that love isn't something you wait for, it's something you lead with. Now, this doesn't mean tolerating unhealthy dynamics or abandoning self-respect. It means understanding that the quality of your life is directly tied to the depth of your relationships, whether it's romantic, family, friendship, even community. Your emotional fulfillment is found in those spaces where you are truly seen and where you see others. The tragedy is so many people settle. They confuse proximity for connection. They live with people they don't emotionally engage with. They go through life surrounded by noise, but starving for depth, because somewhere along the way they traded connection for convenience. But here's the truth. Love is a decision. It's an action. It's not just something you fall into, it's something you practice. It's what happens when you show up, when you listen, when you extend grace, when you say, I see you, I accept you, I'm here. So if you've been feeling disconnected, ask yourself, am I really giving love? Am I showing up with presence, with truth? Because love isn't just what you feel, it's what you do. At the end of the day, it's not about how many people you know. It's about how deeply you're willing to connect. Now, there's another force that shapes your life in ways you might not even realize. It's the need for growth. If you're not growing, you're dying. It's that simple. And I don't just mean physically or financially. I'm talking about growing emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Because deep down, we all have a hunger to become more capable, more aware, more alive. Think about it. Have you ever achieved something you thought would make you happy only to feel a little empty afterward? You hit the goal, you got the title, you crossed the finish line, but something still felt like it was missing. That's because the achievement itself is fleeting. What actually fulfills you isn't the outcome, it's who you had to become to get there. Growth is what gives life momentum. It creates a sense of forward movement, of expansion, and that's where fulfillment lives. You're not fulfilled by staying the same. You're fulfilled by evolving, by facing new challenges, learning new skills, deepening your understanding of yourself and the world around you. But let's be honest, growth isn't always comfortable. In fact, most of the time it feels like the opposite. It looks like uncertainty, it feels like fear, it shows up as inconvenience, resistance, even pain. But pain is the signal. Growth is the reward. The discomfort you're avoiding might actually be the invitation you've been waiting for. What most people call a problem is often a disguised opportunity for growth. A financial setback forces you to rethink your values. A breakup challenges you to look at how you show up in relationships. A failure humbles you and sharpens your focus. None of it's fun in the moment, but if you lean in, if you stay conscious, you come out stronger, wiser, and more resilient. And here's the catch. Growth isn't automatic. It's not guaranteed by time or age. Just because you're getting older doesn't mean you're growing. You have to be intentional. You have to choose it every day through what you read, who you surround yourself with, the standards you hold yourself to. You have to stretch, even when it's inconvenient, especially when it's inconvenient. The most dangerous place to be in life is comfortable, not because comfort is bad, but because it convinces you that staying the same is good enough. And the moment you settle, the moment you stop stretching, is the moment you stop fully living. See, growth is life's great equalizer. You don't need a certain background or a certain level of intelligence or a certain amount of money. You just need a decision to keep expanding, a decision to meet challenges head on, a decision to trade comfort for evolution. So if you're wondering why something in your life feels stagnant, ask yourself, when was the last time you truly grew? Not just change circumstances, but change yourself. Because when you commit to growth, not just occasionally, but as a way of life, you stop chasing fulfillment, you start living it. Remember this, comfort will give you a safe life. Growth will give you a meaningful one. Choose wisely. And finally, there's a need that transcends all the others. It's the deepest one, the one that turns a successful life into a meaningful life. It's the need for contribution. At the highest level of human fulfillment, we move from what can I get to what can I give. Because no matter how much you achieve, no matter how much you grow or how significant you feel, there will always be a ceiling until you start living for something greater than yourself. Contribution is the spiritual need. It's not just about doing good. It's about becoming someone who adds value wherever you go. It's about leaving people better than you found them. It's not charity, it's identity. It's who you are when you're operating from your highest self. There's something extraordinary that happens when you make the shift from success to significance through service. When you stop obsessing over how to make your life work and start focusing on how to elevate others, your life starts to transform. Why? Because you step out of the illusion that you're separate. You realize that fulfillment doesn't come from accumulation. It comes from connection, and contribution is the ultimate expression of connection. Now, don't confuse contribution with grand gestures. You don't need to start a nonprofit or solve global problems. Contribution can be simple. It can be showing up fully for your kids, really listening to a friend, offering your presence, your experience, your care. The real magic is in how you give, not just what you give. And here's the paradox. When you give from a place of wholeness, not from guilt, not from obligation, but from overflow, you're the one who receives the most. Because in that moment, you're aligned with who you truly are. That's why giving feels so good. That's why it heals. It reminds you that you are part of something bigger. If you've ever felt like something was missing, even when everything looked good on the outside, it's probably because you weren't contributing in a way that felt real. We're not wired just to consume or to conquer. We're wired to connect through contribution. The greatest lives are never measured solely by what they owned or achieved. They're remembered by what they gave, the energy they brought, the impact they made. And that kind of legacy, it doesn't require wealth. It requires intention. So ask yourself, how am I contributing? What part of me is being expressed when I give? What ripple am I creating, even in small moments? Because the truth is, You don't need to have everything figured out to start making a difference. You just need to show up with presence and purpose. And when you start living from contribution, you tap into something that success alone could never give you. A life of meaning, a life of depth, a life that echoes beyond your own. Because at the end of the day, it's not about what you take from the world, it's about what you leave in it.